It's my pleasure to call Doron Feldman, Ph.D. candidate at the School of Political Science and Government and International Affairs at the Tel Aviv University, a researcher at the Yuval Workshop for Science, Technology, and Security.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. It's a great pleasure for me to attend and speak at the Cyber Week. Today, I'm going to shortly discuss Taiwan's strategy in containing disinformation. Actually, Taiwan is facing for many years disinformation threats that mainly originating in China. China seeks to integrate Taiwan, and in order to achieve its goal, it promotes disinformation campaigns to create confusion, chaos within the Taiwanese society. In addition, China attempts to weaken Taiwan's democracy and the degree of trust and confidence of its people in their leadership and democratic institutions. Thirdly, China seeks to diminish the role of the US or in the image of the US as a credible ally of Taiwan in general and specifically in times of potential warfare. We saw a growing evidence. We saw a growing evidence to this trend during the previous elections that was held on January 2024. So, how Taiwan managed to fight back against the disinformation threats? Actually, Taiwan adopted and implemented a wall-of-government approach that which means it's fostering collaborations between the different sectors within the country. That includes the government, the private sector, the civil society, the mainstream media, the social media platforms, and other actors. They are all working together to leverage their relative advantages in fighting disinformation to maximize Taiwan's response. But actually, why did Taiwan take this kind of a strategy? So Taiwan had long before understood that in order to effectively fight disinformation, law enforcement activities, strict regulation, and censorship are less welcome and are less effective in fighting disinformation. This is mainly because Taiwan histories as an undemocratic state and the wish of its people to preserve democracy and the democratic values in almost any price. So also it should be noted that Taiwan is one of the most open and free societies in the world. So each time the government tried to implement and execute strict regulations, then the people went out to protest and the government had to retreat. So after this, let me mention some of the pillars of Taiwan's strategy to contain the phenomena of disinformation. The first pillar is the attempt of the government to promote digital competence and media literacy skills within the people, from young people to elderly. For example, the Ministry of Education is integrating digital competence programs into school curriculums in order to give or to provide the students skills on how to critically consume media posts and items. In addition to this, the students are taught on how to distinguish between correct and false information. It is important to say, let me continue. The second pillar was actually the establishment of the Ministry of Digital Affairs in 2022. It came as a bottom-up initiative of the former and the first Minister of Digital Affairs, Audrey Tang. The ministry is conducting many initiatives, including, for example, working together with the social media platforms to monitor the networks and to flag suspicious content. One of these initiatives is the fact that the ministry is working together with the different ministerial teams of the government to create, let's say, competitive narratives and posts to attract users to reliable information rather than to the malicious one, the Chinese malicious-based one. So the best time frame to do this, according to the ministry, is between 60 to 70 minutes. Otherwise, you lose the impact or the ability to attract the users to the reliable information. It should be noted that the ministry is even working together with the senior leadership of Taiwan, including the vice president and the president, to prepare them or to help them how to post videos, live streams, videos, images, any content that can attract the users, as I said, to reliable information. In addition to this, on the beginning of the year, the Ministry of Justice established the Cognitive Warfare Research Center. The center is responsible for collecting data, for doing research, and even intervene whenever fake news or suspicious content are exposed throughout the net. Actually, this kind of mechanism exists in different governmental agencies in Taiwan, but the aim or the goal of this center is also to create and develop international collaborations together with like-minded states to improve and develop effective response to disinformation. But maybe the forefront of Taiwan's response to disinformation is actually coming from the civil society, not surprisingly. In recent years, many civil societies organizations that are specializing in containing disinformation have emerged in Taiwan. We can mention several of these, for example, Double Think Lab, Co-Fact, Fake News Cleaner, and Taiwan Fact Check Center. These organizations are apolitical in nature, and most of their budget is coming from private donations, and they are acting to identify, debunk, and help the public to distinguish between correct and false information, while others are promoting the general public awareness to digital threat through campaigns, lectures, and other initiatives, while some of these are working with the government to teach or to train governmental officials on how to properly handle information. We can take, for example, the chatbot that Co-Facts is operating through the popular domestic social media platform, The Line. Throughout the network or the chatbot, users can verify information throughout the chat that can help the users to distinguish between correct and false information. The chatbot can not only know how to, let's say, to distinguish, as I said, between correct and false information, but it also knows to provide feedback. So if you're asking him, for example, whether drinking poison is a good idea, since this is something you read about through the social media, then he will not only answer you that this is a bad idea, but he will also suggest you alternatives like orange juice. Okay, and then afterwards you can share your thoughts, or you can share the factual information with your friends or family. In addition to this, the government is trying, as I said, to foster collaborations and cooperations with the social media platforms or the private sector to identify, falsify information and narratives, to provide guidance, tips, recommendation on how to consume properly information, again, in general, and in times of elections. Other initiatives are, for example, is the cooperation between the government and Google to remove inauthentic bots and accounts, and this is only some of the measures that the government is taking together with the social media platforms. Another initiative is that the attempts of the government to foster collaborations with the private sector to develop and use technological tools that can detect and prevent in real time fake news and disinformation, including deepfakes videos and others. We can take, for example, the Taiwanese company Protocol Numbers that assisted the government during the previous elections to identify the origins of fake images and to determine whether they were created by artificial intelligence. Lastly, we see that the Taiwanese government and the Taiwanese civil society are both acting to promote international cooperation with like-minded partners around the world. This means that they are seeking to study about the disinformation threat and develop and improve the response to it with states that faces similar threats like Taiwan, for example, Ukraine, Estonia, and even the European Union. So we saw many delegations that met with their counterparts in different parts of the world to study about the disinformation. So we can say that in general speaking, Taiwan's approach to fight disinformation is quite effective, and Israel, I think, can and should learn from it. But at the same time, it is difficult to estimate the exact impact of China's disinformation campaigns on Taiwan's political arena. I'm saying this because during amid the previous elections, despite the DPP, the ruling party, the Democratic Progressive Party, in the elections, it does not possess a majority in the parliament. Therefore, or it implies that the government might face difficulties to promote its domestic and foreign policies, including in the fight against disinformation. And actually, this is a great challenge many democracies, of course, are facing in the world today to preserve democracy and safeguarding national security. So we have to wait to see if Israel is ready for this challenge in the future or in the coming future. Thank you.